TV.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I hope you guys are doing well. Today is an interesting day. Getting ready for a trip to Egypt. We're about to head out of the country soon and going to go learn about our ancestral roots. But before I do that, I wanted to come in today and talk about that crazy interview between Donald Trump and the National Association of Black Journalists. There was a panel that happened in my home city of Chicago that involved some journalists interviewing Trump, and it became just kind of a shit show. And I'm going to talk about it and give you a Dr. Boyce breakdown on this. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt, hit that thumbs up button. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I want to say hello to everybody. I hope you all are doing well. Do me a favor really quick. Let's do a quick sound check. Y'all know how sometimes when I travel, the sound gets a little bit weird. Give me a quick yes or B1 in the chat if you can hear me. Shout out the city you're from also. I see Bobby from Steel City, Pennsylvania. The Spot from Sarasota. Tiffany out of Chicago. Very nice. Justin Pender. I see you. Queens. You know, I happen to be in Queens, Justin. I wish I could meet up with you in person, brother, but I got to get out of town right away. But I feel your spirit, man. Gerald Rogers, North Las Vegas. I wish I was there. The weather's very nice. Not in the summertime, though. Let's see. Miss Julia out of Harlem. Love Harlem. Ishmael, Mississippi. In my crooked letter. Good to see you. Did I see London in there? I thought I saw London. London's in New Jersey. Or New Jersey's in London, whichever one you want to say. All right. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm going to just try to come in here and just talk about what needs to be talked about. And how many of you saw this interesting interview between Donald Trump and the National Association of Black Journalists? Did y'all see that? There was a panel apparently happening in Chicago. And Trump, Trump was being Trump. He was trumping. And y'all know what Trump is an interesting person. Did y'all see any of it? How many of you heard about it at least? There was a lot of conversation about it. I know on my Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance, and I invite you to follow me there. And my backup page is Dr. Boyce Money. I had almost 700,000 followers on Instagram, and I guess because I talk about politics in a way that's not acceptable to the Democrats or the Republicans, my pages get taken down sometimes, but I'm not going to stop. So if you want to follow me there, look me up at Dr. Boyce Finance or Dr. Boyce Money. That's my backup page. So anyway, here's the deal. So Trump comes to Chicago. In case you don't know what's going on, he came to Chicago. And there was an interview with the National Association of Black Journalists, which I know some of the professionals in that organization, and they are extremely good at what they do. And it was immediately controversial. And the first thing I saw that was really interesting, and I'm still trying to really understand this, was I saw where Earl Butch Graves from Black Enterprise, he denounced the decision to host Trump. He just basically said, I'm not coming. And I was trying to understand exactly what he meant in his statement. I'm going to read his statement to you, and maybe you can help me understand where he's coming from, because I want to respect this. I respect Butch. I respect Black Enterprise. I know Alfred Edmond. I've known him a long time. And so here's what the statement says. It says here, Black Enterprise's Instagram page says, I don't have his official statement, but Black Enterprise's Instagram page says, regrettably, he has withdrawn from the quote unquote Black leadership in today's media landscape, end quote, panel at the NABJ convention. The exclusion of Black media from interviewing presidential candidates is unacceptable and goes against NABJ's principles. The ELC and all panelists have decided to cancel the session. So I'm not sure what he means by that. Maybe y'all can help me understand? He says the exclusion of Black media from interviewing presidential candidates is unacceptable. But from what I could see, they were interviewing a presidential candidate. I didn't understand that. I heard Kamala was invited. I don't know if Kamala could make it. I think that they told Kamala she could meet them via Zoom. Trump was there. Trump showed up. So y'all gotta help me understand this. Again, no disrespect to Butch or anything. I just don't quite get it. And if Butch, or anybody from Black Enterprise wants to explain that, you can email me, boyce@boycewatkins.com, and just let me know what happened, because I don't get it. And it says Black Enterprise remains dedicated to promoting Black leadership and meaningful dialogue. Thank you for your support. Together, our voices will be heard. Now, one thing I want to say here is whether or not there's an explanation as to why Butch Graves chose not to participate, right? Or whether or not you feel that he's valid or invalid. Here's one point I want to make for you. I want you to pay attention to this simple point. So what Butch is doing is actually something similar to what I've done when it comes to politics. What he's basically said, and it's his right to do this, is he's basically said, I'm just going to abstain from participating because I don't consider this to be a legitimate process for whatever reason. I'm still trying to understand it, but I want y'all to pay attention. Let me know if you get this point. This is a subtle point, but Black folks need to understand this about politics. You don't have to play somebody else's game. He's saying, look, I don't like this whole system, so I'm not going to participate. I'm just not going to be there. And it's his right to do that. I'm not gonna, my voice will not be heard in this panel because I'm letting you know that I'm abstaining from participating because I don't like the process. I don't agree with the system. So what I'm saying to you is that when you hear Black folks say, look, I'm abstaining from voting, I'm not voting Democrat or Republican, it's not right when people say, well, if you don't vote, you don't count. If you don't vote, your voice won't be heard. No. The voice of someone who isn't voting, that voice is heard. They know how to count. They know how many people are in America who don't vote. They hear that voice too. And abstaining is a long-held political science strategy. Most political scientists will tell you that abstaining is a viable strategy in a situation where you are confronted with an illegitimate system. So in fact, let's do a straw poll real quick. Give me a yes or no. How many of you think that the two-party system is a bunch of crap? Give me a yes or no. How many of you think that it's silly that we can only vote Democrat or Republican in order to be heard? Give me a yes or no if you agree that we need more than two parties and that the system is biased, the system's controlled by money. Give me a yes if you agree that the system is fundamentally corrupt. If your answer is yes, if your answer is no, then fine. I respect whatever you want to do. But if your answer is yes and you're abstaining to make your point, just know I'm not telling you what to do. I want to make this clear, because what happens is people, because politics is full of propaganda and misinformation, I have to make sure I put the real information out there before people start running with the misinformation. But the misinformation is that Dr. Boyce is telling Black people who to vote for. That's not true. The misinformation is Dr. Boyce is telling Black people to go become Trump supporters. That's not true. I've never voted for a Republican in my life. But if I did, it would be my right to do that. If you are a Republican, I respect you. You have a right to be whatever you want, right? So, but what I'm saying to you is that there are many options that you have. And one of the things that I believe in deeply is this word called freedom. And a lot of people don't like the word freedom. They like freedom in theory. They like it until they're confronted with it. They like freedom as kind of a concept, but they don't like freedom as an actual practice. And what they have to accept is that freedom means people doing whatever the hell they want to do. So Butch Graves exercised his freedom to abstain from participating in a process that he deemed to be illegitimate. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me, Black people? Is it okay if I say this and not have you coming in here trying to attack me? I told you I had that conversation with D.L. Hughley. It was so ugly. I wish I could tell you more about it. It was so bad. And I was like, who the hell do you think you are talking to me like this? Seriously, it was literally just, I said, I'm not even participating in this nonsense. You sound like a buffoon right now. This is crazy. I'm not going to fight a Black man over Democrat, Republican stuff, because y'all know these people don't care nothing about you. Have some damn self-esteem, please. So anyway, let me get back to it. All right. So anyway, do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. So Butch Graves says he's not going to participate in the NABJ event because he feels that it's not legitimate for whatever reason. I told you I read a statement. I'm not 100% clear. I thought it was maybe because he was offended that Trump was invited. But then it sounded like he was saying something about journalists not being able to interview presidential candidates. But there were 3 journalists on the stage interviewing Trump. So no disrespect, Butch, but you got maybe some clarity might help on this particular issue. So Trump gets up there and just literally just creating a powder keg of identity politics, They have him on stage with 3 black women. That right there is a mistake. That right there is, that right there is a problem. The optics of it are very, very bad. I'm not to say that any of these women are not qualified. They are all very intelligent. Their questions were very good. They were all very professional. But the idea that you had 3 women interviewing the president and not one single male up there, it unfortunately feeds into a very poor optic of the black community. The unfortunate perception of your community, and Kevin Samuels used to talk about this. I didn't agree with a lot of things Kevin Samuels said, but this is something Kevin would probably understand, is that the perception is that the black community is a feminized community. The perception is that the black community is a community where the women are wearing the pants, always taking the lead, and telling the men to sit in the back, shut up, vote for who we tell you to vote for, do what we tell you to do. And what you're dealing with, and for 20 years that worked. For 20 years that worked because Project 1995 was so successful. See, y'all worried about Project 2025, but ain't nobody talked about Project 1995. Project 2025 may or may not happen. They may or may not get all those bills passed. But Project 1995 was a glaring success. Project 1995 was the Biden crime bill, where their goal was to incarcerate as many black men as possible, to do a mass extermination of the black family in America so that the men as heads of household would be completely dismantled, the head would be decapitated, and you would have a community that's basically full of women and children. So Project 1995 was really successful. So don't try to get me afraid of Project 2025 because I saw Project 1995. Project 1995 also consisted of what happened with hip hop when they turned hip hop music in from what it was, a source of empowerment, to we hate our women, we hate our children, we hate ourselves, we don't love these hoes, we want to throw our money away at every available opportunity, we want to be as ignorant as possible, we want to commit crimes and get 50 years in prison. That was another part of Project 1995. And I could talk to you all about Project 1965, which was called the Vietnam War, and Project 100,000 in the Vietnam War, where they sent 100,000 black men to the front lines to be killed. So they've been doing a process of mass extermination of the black family for about 30, 40, 50 years. It's been going on for a very long time. Project 1985 was when the CIA was dropping crack cocaine into black communities. And so there were millions and millions of our people who lost their families due to the proliferation of drugs and violence in your community. So you had the Vietnam War, which took out a lot of black men from that. Then you had the war on drugs. A lot of black men got killed over drugs, were addicted to drugs, or went to prison for the drugs. And a lot of those men are still in prison. Then you have Project 1995, which was the Biden crime bill and the destruction of hip hop music, which made, unfortunately, a lot of our men turned into something less than what they should have been. And now you've got this feminized community. Now, is there information on Project 1995, Ella? I call it Project 1995. The information is really going to come from me. But if you really want to look up what I'm calling Project 1995, look up the Biden crime bill. Look up the specifics of it. It was $10 billion spent building lots of prisons to house your sons and your husbands. And also they put 100,000 police officers on the street. That was Project 1995. But look up what they did with hip hop. If you notice, if anybody remember when hip hop used to be positive and then it suddenly became bitch this, hold that, kill, let's go kill a black person today. Right. It just kind of flipped, and it was being financed by billions of dollars from people who were not black. Anybody remember that? Anybody remember when hip hop switched? When Tribe Called Quest and all that was no longer cool, suddenly everything turned into gangster this, gangster that, or Diddy was doing the materialism thing. Right. So all of this has led to this image right here on this screen. I want you to follow me now. Let me know if you're following me. So this image on this screen, in my view, this is Boyce's opinion. This is not even my wife's opinion. My wife I'm going to be on Fly Nubian Money later on with the ladies. They're going to have their own opinion. I respect that. I respect the voices of black women. I think black women need to be heard. And I fight men on this all the time. But here's the deal. Black men matter too. And so on this panel, the NABJ made a huge mistake by putting 3 women on that panel. They could have put 1 man on there. They could have put a 4th chair up on the stage. They could have done something, because the impression that people have of your community is that your men are weak, that your men are non-existent, that your men are ignorant, that your men are disengaged, and that your men are just stupid. And ultimately, this is what is happening partly as well when you're seeing so many men deviating from the Democratic Party. And then at the same time, while they're deviating, while they're saying, look, I'm not signing up for this, I'm not participating in this, most of the people that are leaving, and I know brothers who are straight up Republicans, and I don't have nothing against them. I don't tell them they can't do it. But a lot of them are leaving because they're like, wait a minute, I'm a man. I'm not down for all this LGBT nonsense. Being gay is not the same as being black. Or you have a lot of men who say, no, 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 I'm not interested in your views on abortion because I don't, if you carry my baby, I think I have a right to choose. I have a right to have a voice, not just you. It's not just about what women want. It's about what men want too. There are lots of men out here who are rebelling, and this is causing division. It's causing a civil war in the community. I know several Black women. I have probably hundreds, if not thousands, of Black women who will no longer engage with me because they have been so trained to believe that a Black man using his voice and a Black man being honest and a Black man intelligently speaking on his own behalf or on behalf of his people is somehow sexist and bad. They label you for being honest. They label you for having a brain. They label you for trying to have a voice. And I don't give a damn. I reject all your labels. Like my mama used to say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Like, we got grandmas who say something like, well, I rebuke you in the name of freedom. I rebuke you in the name of justice. I rebuke you in the name of all that is fair, all that is decent, all that is intelligent. I rebuke you in the name of intelligent Black people. And because I believe that the Black family matters. I believe that the Black family is the most important, most sacred component of our community, and that is what they destroyed. So that image right there reminds me of the broken Black family. They got very offended when they referenced some things J.D. Vance said about women not having children and things like that. I know why someone got offended because unfortunately, at least one of them, I wouldn't be surprised if one of them was a kind of person who gave up family and relationships so she could have a great career. Because this happens in millions of our families where they tell you, stay in them books. Don't worry about them boys. Don't worry about having no kids. Don't worry about getting married. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying it's not your right to do that. But unfortunately, there's more to life than just your career. There's more to life than just getting that white man to give you that special job so you can feel important. There's more to life than making a little bit of money. Family does matter too. And I think we've lost our families. And I think that's why we've lost our way. And I think that's why we have lost our power. So anyway, let me keep going. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. And I hope it's okay. Give me a yes if it's okay. If I say things you would disagree with in that we are still friends. Give me a yes if it's okay. If we can just disagree. And if you disagree with me and you lay out another perspective, that I don't agree with, I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to learn from you. And my wife just made a good point. I told you, even my wife don't agree with everything I say. And she literally said, when I talked about women that give up their family situations for their careers and all that, she said, you did that. And she's 100% correct. She's 100% right. And let me also give another piece of honesty that I don't really reveal very much in public. I regret it. I really do. I regret the fact that when I was younger, I didn't really understand how important family is. If I could have done it my way, I would have had a bunch of kids. I've adopted several children. I have 6 children that I've adopted that are not my biological children. And I did that because being a father became more important than being a scholar to me. Being, whatever, internet famous or having a little money in my pocket became far less important than family. So I'm playing catch up too. So I ain't even criticize you. If I criticize you, I'm criticizing myself. And one of the things I think is very toxic about, when Black women are taught to be white feminists. See, I'm 100% womanist. I completely get that. I never grew up in a household where women had less power than men. In fact, the women had a lot of power in my household, but I did have a father. One of the things I think that's problematic about our feminism is that we adopt so much of that from white women. And one of the things that really is interesting to me is how sometimes we will think that women's equality means that it's okay when women adopt and adapt the most toxic, dysfunctional behavior that men engage in. Like, remember when Amber Rose, it was Amber Rose, the one that Trump had at her rally? Remember she was doing the slut thing, the slut walk? Like everybody should be a slut, and was like telling everybody to go be a slut. And then when you would say, well, why would you want to be a slut? Sluts don't respect their bodies. Sluts catch diseases. Sluts end up lonely. Sluts end up with unwanted pregnancies. They would turn around. They say, well, men do it. If men can do it, why can't women do it? And I'm like, yeah, men can do it, but male sluts don't end up doing very well in life either. I don't think that the slut behavior is healthy for anybody in a world of STDs. So why would you think that something is good because you're copying the very worst behavior from men? And that's so I really honestly think, generally speaking, I think that we can have a community that supports the rights of women and rights of men and let everybody have a voice. and learn empathy. Just learn, sit and learn what men have gone through so you can listen to men, and learn what women have gone through so we can listen to women, because the gender war in our community is part of what's destroying our families. But anyway, let me get back to this Trump thing, because I want to make sure I make a few points on this before we're done. And also, by the way, we are having in the Black Business School, because we believe wealth is the most important thing in our community, we're having a Black Investors competition. We're doing the Black Investors Championships, where you can win the Black Investors Cup. If you'd like to join, the competition starts on August 19th. The last day to enter is August 10th. And basically, we give everybody $50,000 to invest in mock money. And at the end of 6 weeks, whoever has the most money wins. I will personally ship the Black Investors Cup to your house. If you'd like to join us in the Black Investors Cup, you can actually get free access. I can waive the entry fee. If you want to join my free Money in the Morning financial consciousness training, every morning I teach thousands of people cutting edge economic thinking in the Black Business School. It's 100% free to join, to get started there. So feel free, if you'd like to join, just text the word morning, MORNING, to 87948. Text morning to the number 87948. Also, my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. You can find a copy at drboycebooks.com. That URL is on the screen. So here's a few things about this. So first off, NABJ, bad move by having only women on the panel. You should have had a man on there. The aesthetics are terrible. And it only reminds the men that are voting for Trump, it reminds them of why they have to leave the Democratic Party, because they feel that they've been feminized. That's just honest to God truth. Number two, I will say, though, that the women that were on the panel, they asked really good questions. They hit a lot of the great hot button topics. They challenged Trump on a lot of areas. I don't think it was a softball interview by any stretch. The lady in blue, he really fought with her a lot. The lady in red, he seemed to have a previous relationship with her. I thought that was really interesting. Number three, I will say that the idea that these journalists should never have invited Trump, that's the wrong idea. The idea that you should only be talking to Democrats is tantamount to various forms of political slavery, voter intimidation, and voter suppression. And the reason I say that is because as a journalist, I taught on the faculty at Syracuse University for many years. I was on there for 13 years in the finance department. And let me tell you, I used to meet a lot of students in the Newhouse School of Journalism, which is one of the best journalism schools on the planet. Mike Tirico, who's doing the Olympics right now, came out of our journalism school, among many other great journalists, Bob Costas, a lot of great people. And let me tell you, one of the things that I learned when I talked to a lot of these journalism students and scholars is that a journalist is supposed to have a type of impartiality, where you got to focus on the facts over the feelings. Journalists are supposed to be unbiased. Journalists are supposed to hear the voices of everyone. Journalists are not supposed to walk up in there, neck swinging, finger popping, talking about who that they're going to vote blue no matter who, and who's allowed to talk to who, and that Black people should only talk to Democrats. So when they have undermined your journalistic integrity by getting you to only speak to the Democratic candidate, or these radio stations where they, for a long time, you don't know this, but I spoke to prominent rappers who would tell me that when they would go on urban radio stations, they would literally tell them they could not bring up the Republicans and they could not bring up Bernie Sanders, because the Democratic Party money was going to stop. They were going to get in trouble financially by not being in the pockets of the Democrats. So if you want to talk about corruption, that is the worst type of corruption ever. Sure, we could talk about Donald Trump's corruption. I could talk all day about him owning all these casinos and being in the boxing industry, hanging out with Don King, doing business with mobsters, being in bed with the Russian mob. All that corruption is certainly valid, and it's a great point to make. But you need to talk about the corruption in your community. The corruption in your community is where you have people that are getting paid to make sure that Black people avoid certain conversations. You have people that are getting paid to make sure that Black people are not exposed to certain ideas. You have people that are getting paid to make sure that Black people never have the same political freedoms that they would have if they were white. That Black people do not have the right to vote for whoever the hell they want to vote for, and that is wrong. That is as racist as they come. And stop thinking that only a Klansman with a white hood can be racist. Some of your biggest racists in America are people that with skin that looks like yours. You got a lot of Negro managers out here. They call them Black leaders, but they're really Negro managers whose job it is to control and deliver Black people, just like you delivering buckets of chicken to KFC. Their job is to control you like you are on some sort of a farm. And I think that's wrong. And I can say that without it all telling you how to vote or who to vote for. I am not telling you to vote Democrat. I'm not telling you to vote Republican. I'm not telling you to vote, not to vote. I'm not telling you none of that. And so when people come in my inbox and they think they got me, you're a Trump supporter. I'm like, yep, I expected you to say that, because the people that believe that they are entitled to the black vote, their first response is when you say, I don't like what the Democrats are doing, their job is to call you a Trump supporter to somehow try to ostracize you. Sorry, I rebuke you in the name of freedom. But then somebody will come around and at Ebony Magazine, I got banned from Ebony Magazine from what someone, an internal person told me, because they said, well, Dr. Boyce is telling black people not to vote. I said, I never said that black people shouldn't vote. I've never told people to do anything. I tell you what I'm going to do. And I'm a man. You ain't going to tell me what to do. I don't know. I don't live on that plantation. So I have never, you will never find a clip anywhere of me saying this is what all black people need to do with their vote. I've never said that. The only thing I'll say is that with your vote, you should do what you feel best. You should look at your family and put yourself first, the same way all these bastards in Washington are putting themselves first. They put themselves at the top of their priority list, so you should be doing the same. What is wrong with that? Why is that such a radical idea that black people should put black people first? The only reason that it's a radical idea is because everybody's used to using you like a $2 hoe. That's what it is. They're used to milking you like a cow. They manipulate you like the hooker that don't even get the $2 on the dresser after the evening's over. And I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't like it. So I'm going to summarize this, and I'm going to go and end this conversation because there's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to say this. You know, the interview between Trump and the black journalist, I don't know if that was a win or a loss for him or the journalist. I have no idea. I'm not here to assess that. You can make that your own assessment as to who won and who didn't. I'm going to say that the women did a great job. I wish there was a man on the panel, but the ladies up there were extraordinarily good. I was very proud of the NABJ for having this conversation, and I wish Kamala had been there. That would have been great too. I think they should confront each other. I don't know why Trump won't debate her. Maybe he's scared because Kamala's not a stupid lady. She knows how to fight. She's younger than him. It flips the table. He's not fighting old, raggedy Joe Biden anymore. He's fighting a young, highly motivated, intelligent young woman. So she might kick his ass in the debate. I have no idea. It's going to be a good fight when it happens. Holyfield Tyson Part 2. That's what it's going to look like. But I'm also going to say this. I'm going to end with one word that describes this interview to me. And that one word is a word that I hope we can agree on. And that word is called freedom. How many of you agree with me? Give me a yes in the chat if you agree. I need everybody to give me a yes so we can end on the same page. Because I'm not going to fight you over Democrat, Republican. I told y'all that. I told D.L. Hughley that. I told a lot of people that. I'm not going to fight you over political parties. How many of you agree that black people should be free? Give me a yes if you agree that black people should be free. Freedom, that's our word. Why do I focus on that word? Well, because the thing about freedom that makes it really complex is that freedom is typically not free. Freedom comes with a price. Freedom is hard. Freedom is hard because sometimes powerful people don't want everybody to have freedom because their freedom means you're losing power. So when I talk about freedom, my freedom is very basic. It's a simple idea that I hope anybody who loves black people can agree on. My idea of freedom is that you should have access to all full information that allows you to make the most informed decision for your family. Can we agree on that? Give me a yes if you agree that more information, freedom of information, freedom to explore ideas is a good thing for black people. Also, freedom means that once you've explored all the ideas and all the possibilities and considered all the alternatives for your family, you can make whatever decision, whatever fucking decision, excuse my French, whatever decision you want to make that's best for you and your family. That I think that's okay. And the idea, I want y'all to just really process this. There are people who are so threatened by me saying that they literally, I kid you not, I couldn't believe some of the phone calls I got. I couldn't believe I have been threatened with physical violence because I've said this. And I'm not a Republican. I ain't voting for Trump. I know too much. So this tells you the environment that you're in. You're in the middle of a cesspool of corruption. You're in the middle of a space where don't nobody really care about you that much, so you got to care about yourself. So maybe the reason they're threatened by me is because I'm cheering for the revolution. The revolution means that every person in our community makes the decision that works best for them, that the journalists do your damn job and interview all the candidates so that the community can be exposed to all the ideas. Good job to the NABJ for doing this. Whoever made the decision to say, hey, you know what? We need to have this interview. Good for you. Way to go. That's what a journalist is supposed to do. They're not supposed to sit there and say, well, I'm gonna vote blue no matter who, and certain people, our people don't need to hear from these people because they're only gonna distract them and no, that's not your job. That's called paternalism. Paternalism is where you treat grown-ups like they're children. Black people are not kids. Black people can make decisions for themselves. Intelligent Black people can anyway. So just that's where I stand. So if anybody ever asks you, what does Dr. Boyce believe in? Is he Democrat or Republican? Just say, no, Dr. Boyce believes in freedom. That's where I'm going to end it at. So anyway, speaking of freedom, I do believe, and I'm going to head out after I say this because my wife needs me. I believe the best freedom for Black people comes from economics. I believe that our best option to be free and to be strong is to really, really become the most economically advanced group of people on the planet. So every single morning, one thing that we do, because just to show you, I don't just talk about it. I'm going to be about it. Is every morning we have Money in the Morning, financial consciousness training, where every morning we talk about economics, and I share the most advanced ideas on economics that I can. My PhD's in finance. That I've trained on finance for about 30 something years. I taught my first class in finance at the University of Kentucky in 1993. So I've been doing this for a minute. So if you'd like to join that class in the morning, it's 100% free. Bring your family. Just text the word morning to the number 87948. If you don't want to text morning to 87948, you can also go to drboyceelevate.com. That's drboyceelevate.com. And then last but not least, there are people in the Black Business School that can support you in your economic journey, like Aisha Verzi, who is just really great with things like insurance and financial planning. Her phone number is actually on my offers website. So if you go to drboyceoffers.com, you can find Aisha's number there. When you call her, tell her I sent you, and she'll talk to you about what your family's financial plan is. And because that's what I want you to have. I want you to have a financial plan, because I don't care whether Democrat or Republican is elected. The family that has a financial plan is the one that wins. And then, of course, the last but not least, and I really got to go because my wife is waiting for me. So last thing I want to mention is the All Black National Convention is going to happen October 25th through the 27th in Chicago. This is the gathering that we have every year of intelligent Black people from around the world. We usually have a packed house. We're almost sold out of our tickets. But if you'd like to join us for the convention, feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com. In this convention, I just want you all to know, just in case you're curious about how we stand politically, on the stage, we will have Democrats, we will have Republicans, we have people that are independent, we have people that don't vote. We just have people that love the Black community. So if you are Black first, this is for you. If you believe Black people should be healthier physically and mentally, this is the place for you. If you believe Black people should have better relationships and stronger families, this is the place for you. If you believe that Black men and Black women should love each other, this is the place for you. If you believe that Black people should have wealth, financial security, income streams, all that stuff, this is the place for you. So feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com, and you can join us in October 25th through the 27th. All right, guys, I'm out of here. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Peace.
Yeah, I have 8 minutes. I'm going to be late.